Salarah Starre is a UK-based advanced law of attraction teacher trainer, coach, public speaker, and leading wellness expert. She will share life-changing wisdom about the law of attraction and how you can use this powerful universal law to build a foundation for bigger and bolder manifesting results. It is time to create the life you deserve, and with Salarah's help, you will.
And a very, very warm welcome to Manifesting Made Easy with myself, Salarah Starre. I'm connecting with you all the way from the beautiful and historic United Kingdom. I have to say the weather has been absolutely beautiful here the last few weeks. Many people associate the United Kingdom with grey skies and rain, but I have to say it's been absolutely tropical here. It's been really beautiful. And I just feel so honored that you took the time to tune in to Manifesting Made Easy with myself today. So sit back, relax, put the kettle on, grab yourself a cup of tea and a little bit of chocolate, my favorite pastime, and let me share some concepts with you, which you may have heard before. Some may be completely new to you, but also just remember that the universe always puts us exactly where we need to be at any given moment, hearing exactly what we need to hear. So there may be a reason why you're hearing this information again, or this may be something that's completely and utterly new to you. So whether you've been using the law of attraction for some time, you've been absolutely frustrated to get it to work in your life, or you simply want to take your law of attraction knowledge to a new level, then this is the aim of my sharing my time with you, is to help you with that. So together we're going to work through some simple processes and some wisdom to help you ultimately master the techniques that are quite simply truly life-changing. And remember, the key to success with the law of attraction is learning to use it in a way that you are becoming a deliberate creator of your reality. We did discuss last week that this, in theory, is surprisingly simple to do. But of course, in practice, it is about learning to create our own unique success formula. And sometimes we can get in our own way when we manifest from a place of fear rather than from a place of fun and flow. So with that in mind, why don't we take in a couple of nice deep breaths in together. In through the nose, out through your mouth. And as you're breathing in, just imagine the beautiful light of the universe coming in through your crown chakra, and you're breathing it into your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual bodies. And just do that for a few moments now. And with every single exhale, just allowing any old energy, any stagnant energy, any old belief patterns, any hurts, pains, or frustrations, just to leave your field. And do this breathing in your own time. So very slow, long, deep breath in through your nose. Breathing in the light of the universe, the light of the Creator. And as you exhale, allowing the muscles in your neck and shoulders to relax down, and releasing any tension that you are holding in your mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual body. So you may get a visual on this, you may sense or feel, but as best you can, just imagine, sense or feel the light coming in from the universe, filling up all these 4 body systems. And as you exhale through your mouth, if you can, any old energy, just see it leaving through your mouth. You may see it as a dark color, or red, or blues, or greens, whatever it might be. And just allow the universe now to completely neutralize and recycle all of that energy. And the more you continue to breathe, your biofield now starts to strengthen. So the stronger that we are energetically, the easier it is for us to raise our vibrations. And of course, from a law of attraction perspective, when our vibrations are raised, woohoo, that's when we can really experience magic in our lives. So something as simple as a breathing technique like that, and visualizing the light coming in and releasing any tension out from our body, mind and spirit, can be very, very powerful at recalibrating the whole of our biofield and bring us into energetic alignment with our dreams. And the reason why I say to focus on relaxing the neck and the shoulder muscles is because these muscles are directly connected to the amygdala, which is the part of our brain which is responsible for the activation of the stress response. Of course, when we're in stress mode, we start to excrete hormones like cortisol, adrenaline, and lactate. Our amygdala closes down to put us into survival mode, and all of these unhealthy hormones flood our system. Of course, they're healthy if we're in Africa and we need to escape a lion, right? But many of us are in stress response for the majority of the time. But when it comes to manifesting, it's very, very important that we take ourselves out of stress response as regularly as possible so we can keep the amygdala open, because when the amygdala is open, we see the signs and the guidance of the universe. We can connect to our own inner compass. We're more connected, we're more aligned, we are able to recognize doors of opportunity that are constantly opening for us all the time. So we're able to see more of which the universe is sending to us, rather than when that little trapdoor, the amygdala, is shut, we have very, very limited vision. So I always invite us to take these very slow, long, deep breaths in through our time together so that we can open the amygdala. In other words, open ourselves up to the wisdom, the divine guidance, the energy, the beauty of the universe, so it can flow to us and through us and light up our world. So one final long deep breath in through your nose, putting the light into all your four body systems. See the whole of your biofield really strong now. See yourself encapsulated in the beautiful divine light frequency. And as you exhale with a nice big cheesy grin on your face, just allow any old energy to release from your being. And this helps us flick the switch from fear into love. And love is where manifesting is very, very easy and absolutely effortless as well. If you are finding yourself going through a particularly tricky time at the moment, I would highly recommend that you unplug from any form of manifesting and go through a little bit of a vibration reset, which can incorporate meditation and gratitude. I'm going to be covering a little bit more about vibration resets in a further show, but I feel it's very, very important when it comes to manifesting that we make sure, or we remember rather, that the energy we are coming from will always determine where we are going. And if we're coming from a place of fear or worry or lack, we're only going to inject that energetic signature through our manifestations, which will get us unwanted results or limited results. That's why I always advise my clients when I'm in one-to-one sessions or group trainings to, at that point, to unplug and go on a reset. So keep an eye out for future shows, because I am going to be taking a little bit of a deeper dive into that. Today, what I would really, really love to talk about is our spiritual laws. Now, we know the law of attraction is one of the most powerful laws in the whole of the universe. Like tends to attract like, thoughts become things, which is so exciting. When I first started my journey in 2006, I was absolutely excited, more than I can even explain, that I could connect to this power, which meant that I didn't have to live life that felt so hard and so tiring all the time. But it was only through my journey of years of trying this manifestation and that manifestation, some going really well, some being a big flop, that I started to get a deeper understanding about the energetics of the universe, and in actual fact that there are many, many universal laws that govern the universe, and the law of attraction is only one of them. Therefore, why are so many of us only focusing on the law of attraction, which is very, very limiting, when we can start to focus on some of these other spiritual laws, when used in conjunction with the law of attraction, can become very, very powerful. So I feel very excited to be able to share this with you today. So we're going to be doing a multi-law session today. I absolutely love introducing spiritual laws by starting off with the law of vibration, because the law of vibration will then determine our attractor point. So actually, the law of vibration is probably the foundational spiritual law that we can choose to focus on, that can either power up our manifestations or make us feel like everything's taking forever to come to us. If you think about a vibrational ladder, and this was something which I learned from the teachings of Esther and Jerry Hicks, their emotional vibration scale, is think about it like the rungs of a ladder. On the lower rungs of the ladder, we've got emotions such as fear and worry and doubt and anxiety and hopelessness, which I'm sure at some point we've all felt before. On the higher rungs of the ladder, we get the feelings of joy and excitement and passion and hope and love and laughter. And of course, the idea is to vibrate on the higher rungs of the ladder as much as possible, because like energy tends towards like energy. But of course, we are also on this journey called life. And this journey called life does present us with challenges. And many may perceive these challenges to be breaking them. You'll notice successful people will see these challenges as making them. And I think it's very, very important for us to cultivate that mindset that when a challenge comes along, it's not there to break us. It is there to make us. Because within every challenge is an answered prayer. Within every challenge, we have an opportunity to learn, to grow, to unlock our own next level of spiritual evolution. And there's been many times that I've screamed at the universe, and I know many of my clients have felt the same, when it's like, well, hang on a second, I've been manifesting X, Y, and Z, and you've just given me this, which is the complete opposite of what I want. And the universe is almost sitting there with, its head in its hands going, but can't you see, Salarah, that this is the answer to your prayer? And I'm like, well, how on earth can that be the answer to my prayer? Am I missing something here? But what the universe has is a bigger picture that we can't see through our own limited vision, and sees that, right, okay, so Salarah wants to manifest this over there, but we've got this over there, over here, which is causing a blockage, a restriction, limiting mindset, boundary issues, or whatever it might be. So what we're going to need Salarah to do is to go and do some clearing at this area of her life first. And once that area is cleared, it then unlocks this area, which is then opens the door to my manifestation. So actually these challenges that come our way are actually part of the divine plan of unlocking spiritual wisdom, spiritual gifts, and are a part of our evolutionary process. So sometimes when we are vibrating on the lower rungs of the ladder, instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening for me? Thank you, universe, for showing me the part that I am playing in the creation of this. So the law of vibration is actually one of the most powerful spiritual laws, even before the law of attraction, because the law of vibration will then determine what we then attract to us. So what's very, very important as part of a very healthy spiritual practice to activate the positivity of the law of attraction, because of course the law of attraction works in its positive and its negative, right? We'll either attract what we want or what we don't want, is to make sure that we have a daily practice that helps us keep on top of our vibration. And also understanding that, sometimes life is going to give us lemons, and our job as creators of our own reality is learn to make lemonade. So I have a very, very, it's changeable, because as I evolve, my daily practice evolves too. But I have daily practices that help me keep on top of my vibration. And the reason why I say they're changeable is just sometimes I need to change them up a little bit, depending on where I am on my own journey. Where I am right now, I focus on gratitude. I'm going to be sharing with you in later shows a very powerful 3-step gratitude process. Gratitude is one of the most important parts of our journey. I'm going to chat a little bit more about that in a second. And also making sure that I do regular meditation. I listen to uplifting podcasts. I read uplifting books. I'm constantly feeding my mind with positive food and making sure that I'm surrounding myself with positive people and caring and kind, supportive people, because I can't be positive all the time, right? I'm here, I'm an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience. I'm here to learn and to grow. And sometimes the learning isn't pretty, because sometimes some of the lessons that my soul has called in can be really, really super challenging. And it does feel like they bring me to my knees. And thank heavens that I've got these amazing tools, because it means that it doesn't give me a get out of jail free card to escape my lessons, but what it does do is gives me wisdom to navigate myself through them and to come up more powerful and stronger beyond them. So what few things can you do every day to keep on top of your vibration? Some people will make sure that they eat really super clean, feed their mind with positive food, meditation, gratitude. And when you start to really look after your base vibration, you'll find that you activate your law of attraction on higher levels than ever before. So that's one of the spiritual laws that I wanted to cover with you today. Another one of the spiritual laws, and I learned a lot about spiritual laws actually from a beautiful lady called Diana Cooper. She wrote a book called A Little Light on Spiritual Laws, and she shares so many, but there are many wonderful books out there. And I've kind of been on a bit of a tangent with learning this information from many different sources over the years, but that might be one that you would like to check out in the meantime. And in there, one that really spoke to me was, as within, so without. And it took me a little while to get my head around what that meant, because it felt like a little bit of a riddle to me. But as I started to dissect it and understand it, I started to realize that actually my whole world is a reflection of what is going on inside of me. So in essence, we look at the world through the lens of how we are feeling. We look at the world through the lens of our belief patterns from the past, which, by the way, often operate on a deep subconscious level that we're not even aware of. So if you think of an iceberg, you can see the tip of the iceberg, which is our conscious mind, and then you've got the whole massive iceberg underneath, which is subconscious. And many of our experiences and interpretations and perceptions of reality are actually being driven by the subconscious mind. So we will have multiple opportunities. The universe will show us where we have our limiting beliefs by form of some kind of life experiences, which I'll go into a little bit more as we share through the show today and future ones. So in other words, we don't actually see the world the way the world is. And we don't actually see people the way people are either. It's like, oh my word, that really felt like quite intense when I first heard this. So this may not be the first time you're hearing this, but it might be the universe just wants you to hear it again. Or if this is the first time you're hearing it, it is a little bit mind-blowing. So as Dr. Wayne Dyer said, we don't see the world as the world is, we see the world as we are. So, for example, if we're feeling low, depleted in energy, depressed, then we're more likely to see more things in our reality that will mirror and reflect that back to us. So we'll see more things that make us feel low and depressed and depleted. It's like we end up tuning in to more of the same. And of course, that then takes us back to the law of vibration, right? But on the other hand, when we feel happy and we feel carefree, we then notice more things that make us feel happy and carefree. And as Esther and Jerry Hicks share in their book, Ask and It Is Given, one thought attracts more like thoughts to it, and more like thoughts attracted to those thoughts and those thoughts and those thoughts. And some of this is also about awareness. When we become aware that actually where attention goes, energy flows, what I focus on, I am going to see more of. And we can then consciously choose to then start to shift our focus from what we don't want to what we do want. Then that's when we start to become a really powerful, conscious co-creator with the universe. So remember, as within, so without, our world is only mirroring back to us our own vibration. And it's such a beautiful way for us to gauge where we are at on our journey. If I ever want to know where my vibration is at, I will just take a look around me at the people, at the experiences, and what's going on, and that will give me a really good indicator on where my vibration is, which is then creating this attractor point that I am experiencing. Okay, so I'd be very interested to know if, it's a shame there's no two-way conversation here, because you may have many questions, you may have some comments. You can always feel free to email me, salarah@salarahstar.com, at any time with your questions and your comments, because we can create some kind of interaction that way, and it would be nice to answer some questions in real time as well. Of course, I do have a Facebook group, and I do a law of attraction clinic, so that's very, very interactive. If that's something that you would like to join, it's called Become a Master Manifester. And it's a free Facebook group, and once a week I hop in there and I do a law of attraction clinic. It's like, right, my friends, what is it that I can help you with? What are you struggling with? What information would you like? What are you currently manifesting that you would like me to give you tips and tools on? And that's a space that we can gather as well, if that's something that you feel resonates with you. Moving on to another spiritual law, the spiritual law of responsibility. Now, this is a really, really important spiritual law to pay attention to, because without this, we'll constantly stay in victim mode. Without really understanding the law of responsibility, we won't ever really see the power that we have inside of us to create an extraordinary life. And it's something Will Smith said, we can't help what happened to us, but it is our responsibility to change it. Because in essence, we are responsible for our own lives. Yes, we may have had some negative experiences in the past. I've shared with you briefly in my previous show a little bit about my background, and life gave me more than lemons. It gave me shipping containers full of lemons. And I had no idea what on earth to do. Certainly didn't know that I could make lemonade from them until I realized that actually life is my making. Yes, all of that stuff may have happened, but I get to choose what happens as I go forward. And it's not what happened to me that makes the difference. It's what I do with what happens to me that makes the difference. So the law of responsibility is very, very empowering. And it's claiming the I am responsible for myself. I am responsible for my reality. The universe is mirroring to me where I need to go in order to grow. So remember the law of as within, so without. What can also be considered the law of reflection and the law of mirroring as well. And I'm not a victim, and I no longer need to stay in these old patterns and cycles. At any given moment, I can choose to change them. And it's about making those conscious choices. So taking responsibility for yourself and for your life is going to unlock your law of attraction on higher and more extraordinary levels than you will ever know. It is a very, very powerful spiritual law indeed, and the one that will absolutely be the making of you when you really step into your power and understand that everything in our reality has somehow consciously or unconsciously been created by us, not to break us, but to unlock our next level, as I mentioned before. But also depending on your belief patterns, I very much believe in reincarnation. I believe that we chose to be here in this space and in this time, and the lessons that I'm experiencing now are not by chance. They're ones that my soul wanted to experience for growth and evolutionary purposes. And that actually on a higher level, even though the start to my life was absolutely diabolical, on a higher level, I know my soul chose this. So even if I struggle to take responsibility from the level of being human, on a higher level of my soul, I can see that my soul chose this for purposes of higher and accelerated evolution. So that's the law of responsibility. Again, one of my favorite laws. Now, there is another law, which, oh my word, I have to say this really got me in the early days. And this was around about 2003, actually. I learned about this particular spiritual law because I didn't know that it was attached to all the spiritual laws of the universe, the law of attraction. It was just something that I read in a book, and it's called the law of projection. So this law states that we project our stuff, in inverted commas, onto other people, thinking that what we are seeing is in them, but actually what we're seeing is within us. Oh my word. I mean, this works positive and negative, but at this particular time I was having a particularly challenging relationship with my father-in-law. And he really challenged me, like, big time. I really struggled. I was willing to do the work, of course, but I really struggled with it. And this book was basically guiding me through a process. I can't remember what the book is now, which is really annoying because it was actually super helpful. But basically it said we project our stuff onto other people, thinking what we're seeing is in them, but actually it's within us. And it invited me through a process to write down 3 things that really annoyed me about him. So I loved that because my ego wanted to blame him. It was really enjoying kind of like, yeah, you know what, I'm hard done by here. It's all his fault. So I wrote down words like he's a liar, he's controlling. And then I went on to read the book, and then it was emphasizing even more, if you spot it, it's because you've got it. And I tell you what, I nearly threw this book across the room. I was not ready to take responsibility at all. But actually, as I started thinking about it over a few days, I thought, well, I wonder if there is any truth in this, because actually I do want to grow and I'm unable to see my own stuff. And what if this is reflecting something really valuable to me that I can work through within myself? And once I've worked through that within myself, unlock my next level. So I then had a look and thought, right, nobody's listening. I can be completely honest with myself. Am I controlling? And I was like, you know what? Absolutely. And I was going through, particularly challenging times and heightened anxiety as a result of it. And the heightened anxiety caused me to be controlling in various ways. And I thought, how on earth can I point my finger at him when I'm doing that? So I began to understand that this reflection was a helpful, even though it felt quite challenging, it was a helpful reflection because it helped me to see that actually, if I was to work on my anxiety, I wouldn't then feel the need to control. But it also helped me to understand him, that what if he was also going through anxiety, and that's what created his control as well. Anyway, the other ones I worked through, and it was a real eye-opener for me. Difficult, but a real eye-opener. Now, in my one-to-one sessions, I could do real deep dives when it comes to the law of projection, positive and negative aspects, because it's probably one of the only laws that I've ever known to unlock such extraordinary gifts within a person. But it does take great bravery to be able to go and do the law of projection in the negative sense. But I have devised a very, very powerful technique that's a real eye-opener and very freeing. And many people have raised their vibrations a massive amount as a result of doing that work. But the law of projection isn't just negative. Well, not that that was negative, right? Because that was unlocking our extraordinary. But if we are going to use the words negative and positive, it can actually also be used in the positive. Because you can think about somebody that you really admire. So say, for example, one teacher that I really admire is Gabby Bernstein. What is it that I admire about her? I love the way she's so real and she makes such a difference in this world. And she's so heart-centered. I absolutely love that. And then, of course, the law of projection will say, well, if you spot it, you've got it. All of those things that you see in her, Salarah, you've got that too. And it's just about us recognizing that actually these people are only mirroring back to us that of which we are in the positive sense and of course in the negative sense. But I'm only using the word negative for the purpose of illustration, because actually when the negative is projected back to us and we do the work on it in the shadow aspect of self, that's when we make massive traction to higher rungs on the vibrational ladder, and in turn attract wonderful new experiences to us as well. So that is one of my favorite spiritual laws, even though it can also be one of the most uncomfortable. So that can be a real journey of the brave. So when I was able to see the aspects of myself that I was blind to, make some loving and gentle corrections to my perceptions, and of course then the way that I was showing up in my world, my whole vibration started to shift. As my vibration started to shift, my law of attraction started to shift, and I then started to attract wonderful new experiences into my life as a result of that. Okay, so how are we all doing after that particular spiritual law? That can be a little bit of an eye-opener, that one, and this is what I love about this journey. There's just so much to learn about the law of attraction. One size doesn't fit all. There's a lot to it. And all I'm going to ask you to do at the end of each show is just to sit with what spoke to you the most today. Some of this can feel quite intense because there's a lot of information to take on all in one go. But thinking, well, what did I get from that? What did I learn? And how can I now apply that in my life in order for me to work on my vibration and then change my attractor field? So remember, as within, so without, our world is a direct reflection of what is going on inside of us. And we used the iceberg analogy as well, and mentioned we don't see the world as the world is, we see the world as we are, which of course works similarly to the law of projection, right? We project our stuff out onto the world thinking that what we're seeing is in them, but actually it's a program. It's a bit like a projector that projects an image on the screen. It's only projecting a pre-programmed image. And if we want to change the image that we are seeing on the screen, of course, we then need to go into the program, shift our program, and then we start to notice the image on the screen of our life changes as a result of that. Of course, we discussed the law of responsibility, the most powerful law in the whole of the multiverse. Well, all of them are. And we are responsible for our own lives. So right here, right now, we can draw a line in the sand of time and say, yeah, you know what, these things may have happened to me, but now I'm realizing they were happening for me. What patterns and cycles am I noticing? What gifts am I and have I been unlocking as a result of this? And remembering that it's not what happens to us that makes the difference, but what we do with what happens to us that makes a difference. So these are just a few of the spiritual laws. And like I said, learning about the other spiritual laws can be really highly beneficial in powering up the law of attraction and then making it much more effective as a result of it. So many of these spiritual laws can actually help us to look at our daily challenges from a completely different perspective. They can help us to see the bigger purpose of life's challenges, but also how to overcome these challenges and the higher learning for our soul's journey as a result of that. And one of my favorite quotes with Einstein says, problems cannot be solved at the same level of thinking that created them. So it's very, very important that we expand our consciousness, just like you're doing today by listening to this and any other books or YouTube videos that you might be watching or listening to. It's very important to keep that expansion going in order for us to look at our challenges through a completely different lens, which means we can then overcome and transcend them as well. Anyway, I can't believe how fast 30 minutes has gone. It's flown by so quickly. It has been absolutely beautiful to connect with you today. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. And I trust that this wisdom is going to help you unlock something extraordinary within your heart, within your mind and your soul, so that you can become that powerful magnet for all that your heart desires and more. So sending you lots and lots of love all the way from the other side of the pond in the United Kingdom, and I will be back with you the same time next week. Take care and lots of love for now.
Thanks for listening. Salarah Starre will be back next week with great insights into the law of attraction. In the meantime, please visit salarahstarre.com.